Good morning, Big Brother fans. It is Monday, July 26th, day 20 in the Big Brother house, by my recollecting. And what's the biggest news for today? Well, the major points for today will be that the power of veto meeting will be held. It will not be used. And actually, Brent is not expecting it to be used. As a matter of fact, Brent apparently doesn't want it to be used. I didn't think Brent was so unaware of his situation. He's really overconfident. And he thinks that this is all part of a grand scheme to make people think that he's in jeopardy when he's really in jeopardy. He's in more jeopardy than he thinks. He's a little bit too confident in his alliances. As a matter of fact, Dolfica put out her alliance chart on Friday, and I didn't see it because I was running around 2 states going to basketball games and didn't get a chance to see it. But when I saw it last night, she had both the Mafia and the Radical alliance added, which looped in both Whitney and Brent into alliances. The problem is, neither of those alliances is very real, mainly because both Whitney and Brent are in them. So they both feel a bit insulated because they've got 2 alliances running, but they're not really alliances. So Brent is going to be in for a rude awakening on Thursday. Maybe he'll get the hint once the power veto is over, if Brittany doesn't start acting a bit more nervous. But I don't know. Brent may not be able to see through it. I thought Brent kind of knew, but the folks are doing a good job of keeping him kind of content, I guess. So that's the big game thing that's going to happen today with the power veto meeting. The other stuff going on is just a general alliances, reaffirming alliance statuses, and the Royal Flush Alliance. Oh yeah, it is Royal Flush. That's right. Sorry, I had a toilet vision in my head, but I guess it is. That's what you call it, Royal Flush. Big Brother will use that, won't they? Is the Royal Flush down the tubes? Because there's it's not even a splintering. It's just the Royal Flush is the Kings and the Queens alliances teamed up with Derek X added in from the Aces, right? So, and then Hannah hasn't been involved, but she kind of is, but she isn't. But anyways, Derek X plus the Queens plus the Kings. That is the Royal Flush. And Derek X specifically has been petitioning a little bit that they kind of need to start focusing on. Maybe they need to break. Basically, he's saying maybe we got to break up the Royal Flush before we get to jury. He wants to get at least one king out because he feels they're too strong. Because they've been winning all the competitions. Remember, the Kings are Christian, who did 6 backflips yesterday in the backyard in a row. 6 backflips in a row. I mean, when I saw it, I was like, why would you show off like that? I would have been big red target. Did you guys see what he did? We can't compete against that. To be able to do that 6 times in a row means you've got amazing strength, amazing core, amazing everything. He is going to kill us. And who else is on that team? Xavier and Alyssa, his showmance, and Sarah Beth, who's not a slouch either. She's not a nerdy girl that's a slouch. Sarah Beth has a fairly decent head on her shoulders. And so, yeah, those 4, that is the power alliance, really. I mean, every other alliance is the Aces are still 4, but they are soon to be 3. And then the Kings will be the only 4-person alliance left with 1 week to go. And so if the King Alliance manages to get through the first 4 weeks and keep all 4 of its members, it's going to be a pretty strong thing. And they are fairly tight with each other. I'm not saying they're completely tight. Obviously, there are alliances that some of them are in that the others are not aware of, but they're still pretty tight. There's a Sarah Beth Kylan relationship. There's Xavier in the cookout. So there's a little bit of, side alliances going on, but still, they're in pretty good shape. So one talk was, Derek was saying maybe we should keep Whitney around to go after, because they've been talking about Whitney being the next target, but Derek was pushing the thought of maybe we should keep Whitney because Whitney would go after Alyssa. What Derek was suggesting was we should throw the next head of household to someone on the Aces, so that they can go after a king. Now remember, the Aces are, Derek. Now I'm getting my names confused. Aces are Kyland, Claire. No, hang on. Aces include Derek, and Derek X. Forget about Derek Fraser. Derek X and Brent and Whitney and one more that I can't think of right now. It's a female and it escapes me. I can't think right now. Who is it? I gotta pause. Just a second. I'm feeling stupid. Hannah. There's another name that I'm kind of slips out of the edge. Hannah, by the way, is I mean, she's there. She should be in good, but she's really not in tight with any particular alliances. She's on the edge. She's not in the royal flush. And she's in a starter showmance. It's not quite. It's still a flirtmance, as you would call it, kind of a thing. It's not been fully sanctioned. There's not been any kissing involved or anything. But it's there, but she's not in the Royal Flush Alliance. She's not in, she's on the edge, man. She could work herself out of it. I like Hannah, but she does seem to be a little bit on her own. Anyways. All right, so the Aces are going to get knocked down by 1 this week, right? They're going to lose Brent. So every team except for the Kings will have lost someone. Now, that's the most you could have, is 1 from each team could have lost 1 except for 1 team. But wouldn't you not think, well, we're not on that team, so maybe we ought to take a swing at one of them and get one of them out. And look, the one confirmed showmance on in the house is Christian and Alyssa, and Christian is a comp beast based on he tore up the Power Veto competition and the way he's doing, just his physical fitness. Like I said, just those backflips in the backyard would be enough for me to go, oh my gosh, he's very strong. So that's what's up. Oh, the new alliance. So the Royal Flush had a meeting where they talked about stuff. And, I mean, Whitney is kind of their next target, I think. At least within that group, that's who they're kind of agreeing to. And then Derek went back to the have-not room with the queens, because the queens are the have-nots. So he went by with Claire, Kyland, and Tiffany back to the have-not room, and they stayed up until really late talking. And they agreed to form a new alliance. It's a sub-alliance. It's an alliance within an alliance. Now, think about that. Again, Dolfica, I retweeted it last night talking about it, looking at connections and everything. And I actually ran the numbers that I ran last week. At one point, I added a numbering system to the alliance chart and kind of added numbers for each connection or each alliance. And Dolfica doesn't include the relationship between Derek and Tiffany or Derek and Hannah. And I think those are both worth noting, even though they are not a final two alliance. They are a relationship that seems fairly strong that isn't listed in her chart. So I am adding those two. Sorry, distracted. Truck ahead of me just flipped its lights and has some magic hazard lights that look really strange. Maybe a police car. What's going on? Hang on, I gotta pause my thing. Okay. I was going into a construction zone. I think it was an unmarked police truck, pickup truck that flipped on their lights just as we were entering it and kind of caused mass confusion by all the traffic behind it. And now we're okay, though. Yeah, but I'm lost. I'm completely lost on where it was. My train of thought got messed up. Sub-alliances. So, the Dolphica's thing, and Derek has his relationship. So, I'm including a relationship between Derek and Tiffany and Derek and Hannah that is not listed on her chart when I ran my numbers. But the numbers, as I ran them, I ran them two different ways because Dolphica also includes in her chart the Mafia Alliance and the Radical Alliance, which I don't count those as real alliances. As I've said, I don't think they're legit alliances, so why would I count them? Because they make it appear that Brent and Whitney are safer than they are, and it gives additional alliances to people who aren't including those as alliances. They already have relationships with most of those people through another alliance, so I kind of took those out of the mix. And it did affect the way that people looked as far as strength, partially because it gave more weight. I give more weight to alliances than I do over individual relationships. I only give a half a point to individual relationships, but I give a full point to an alliance of 3 or more. And so when you add those full alliances, it made a couple people look more secure than they really were. And I can't even remember who it was now. It's at home on a computer because I didn't post it because it was a lot to explain. I could show it to somebody, but I wouldn't want to try to explain it. And I just I don't know. I'll just not post it last night. I'll wait and see what happens. And now we've got another alliance to throw into the mix. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And now I've got construction. And I'm going to slow down. So, the alliance chart is a good thing to check out. It shows you connections. It shows you who's insulated. And my point was that with the forming of this new Detectives Alliance, which is a legit alliance, that means that Tiffany, Claire, and Kylan all are in one more additional alliance that they weren't in before. I mean, obviously Derek is too. Derek X was kind of one of the weaker members as far as alliances, but he got a little bit stronger looking when I added in 2 extra one-on-one relationships. But Kylan specifically, Kylan, Claire, and Tiffany they're actually really good, in my opinion. They are probably the 3 strongest folks in the house as far as their status as far as being insulated with extra alliances and relationships and everything. Remember, Kylan has a very close relationship with several people, including Sarah Beth, including he has a couple. I think it was Kylan. I think they had 3 final. There were several people that had 3 final 2 alliances. There's a lot of final 2 alliances going on, and some people seem to think that Derek and Hannah have a final 2, and obviously we know they don't. So, yeah, there's a lot of, but the fact that people are seeing Hannah and Derek as a pair and having that kind of relationship, it to me is justification enough to kind of indicate them as a relationship. But then again, some people might say the same thing about Brent and Whitney, and obviously there's nothing there. Whitney is perfectly willing to throw Brent on the bus. She just doesn't know that she's not far behind him. All right. Anything else? Because I've now been rambling. I have passed the 14-minute mark. Yes. Patrons. I think it's Eric. Eric is not a new patron. Eric is a re-upped patron. Eric signed back up again to be a patron. Thank you, Eric. I think it's Eric. 99% sure it's Eric. Now we're going to pause that and double check. I'll be right back. I was right. It's Eric. Yes, so new patron, Eric. Thank you, Eric. New returning patron, Eric. Thank you, Eric. Appreciate it. I already sent you a message. And, yeah, cool deal. If you would like to become a patron of my CarCast or my other stuff or whatever you want to call it, it just means you're kind of giving me a little extra nod and a wink and a pat on the back and a friendly donation once a month. You can go to patreon.com/BBGOSSIP and sign up there. What else? Oh, I did, as I think I said yesterday when I was driving between here and Columbus, Ohio. By the way, my team lost yesterday. But I did I get on ESPN? I don't think I got on ESPN, but my kids did. I was with two of my three kids and a friend. And the three of them did get flat up right on ESPN, frankly, because we were one of the few people rooting for the team that we were there for. And so when one of our players scored a nice three-point shot, they had the camera locked in on those three as they were jumping up and yelling and screaming for them. And so, yeah, but it was a long 4.5-hour drive home after the loss, that's for sure. But I did watch the Big Brother show last night, or Big Brother episode last night, and was kind of catching up on Twitter. Not while I was driving. Well, you guys know, yesterday I actually did do a CarCast while I was driving with them in the car, listening to me talk to myself. So, yeah. And I also did post part 1 of my Talk of My Vegas trip on my Mike's Mostly Non-Big Brother CarCast. That's a different podcast entirely. I don't tweet out links to it. I think about 25 people listened to that yesterday. So for those of you that are curious, how many people actually went and searched that out? Looked like last night when I got home, about 25 people at that time had listened to it. So there's a few, and that's what I do it for, the few. It doesn't go anywhere. It's always something you can check out. I got part 2 in the can and ready to fire, or in the barrel and ready to fire, so I just need to upload it, and I will do that. But I'm waiting until I'm sure I'm ready to do my next one, just because I want to get those done, and I don't want to lose my train of thought. So I will probably record that next one tonight. I suspect I'll be out walking my dog, and I may do it then. With that, guys, I'm going to sign off. Wish you a happy Monday. Yay, Monday. Rah. Be well. Thanks for the follows. Thanks for everybody that listens. Share it with your friends and neighbors. One more friendly reminder, although I don't think any of you haven't heard it by now, that the Big Brother Gossip Show is not happening this year. But I still got asked just again yesterday, why aren't you on iTunes? So there are people that only listen on iTunes, don't follow me on Twitter, don't follow anybody on Twitter, and have found the CarCast. But they've taken the time, or the podcast, and they've taken the time to go search me out or search us out. They probably think it's all of us on Twitter, and ask, and I have let them know that there is not a Big Brother Gossip Show this season. Trust me, I miss it in some ways, but in other ways, about this time, I could see Colette complaining that it's slow, that there's nothing happening, or that it's a one-sided alliance, or that, this or that. And I'm projecting here. I don't know, but I could just see, that people would be complaining, or maybe Colette would be complaining. I don't know. I'm okay with the season. I'm okay with it. It is a bit of it's not even a one-sided thing. It's reminding me a bit of Big Brother 15 in that, the edge people are being chipped away. At the early season, if you remember, there was edges, and there was I had like a record player, like an onion, like a record player almost. Now it hasn't quite gotten to that point yet, but you could almost put Claire and Kyland and Tiffany in the middle, and out around them are other alliances. They are starting to become pretty insulated with the number of alliances that are around them. For Kyland and Tiffany, that includes the cookout. So, yeah, it's a possibility that this could be similar to, not for the way the game played out, but just for the alliance-looking stuff and everything. It could be similar to kind of like a Big Brother 15, where there's a core group or a Big Brother 16, where even more so Derek and Cody were a core group. Although Kyland and Tiffany, I do not think are a final 2 So it's not quite that strong. But anyways, all right, that's it. I'm parking. Have a good one. We'll talk to you tomorrow. I doubt I'll do one of these anytime. I don't think anything exciting is going to happen that would justify another CarCast today. So be well. Thanks for listening. Bye.